The Islamic Revolution is the most significant event in Iran's contemporary history. The late founder of the Islamic Revolution, Imam Khomeini, returned home from exile on roughly February 1st, 1979. 10 days later, the monarchy was toppled. The 10 days before the victory of the Islamic Revolution is called the 10-day dawn. Extraordinary changes took place within the 10-day dawn in 1979, and the world had to be informed about it every step of the way.
Imam Khomeini has arrived. This is one of the most famous newspaper headlines in the history of Iran. You won't find any Iranian who hasn't seen this newspaper. But what I'm about to tell you today is not only about how this newspaper was printed and how the biggest newspaper headline was actually created in Iran, but about the events and the way they unfolded for this to become the headline. Ten days of celebrations marking the 36th anniversary of the Islamic Revolution is obviously the best time to take a glance at history. In the Museum of Etelat newspaper, I decided to hear the story from those who were reporting it back then. Veteran journalist Bijan Nafisi remembers those days very clearly.
تقریبا تمام سرویس‌های روزنامه دیگه کار تخصصی خودشون نمی‌کنن. همه در خدمت اخبار انقلاب بودن به دلیل اینکه به حدی گستردگی اخبار زیاد بود و بعد رویدادها پشت سر هم اتفاق می‌افتاد. روزنامه به چاپ‌های متعدد می‌رسید. ما بعضی روزا در دوران انقلاب تا 4 چاپ تجدید کردیم. این تیتر حروفش در اون زمان در چاپخانه وجود نداشت به این بزرگی. این در حقیقت یه عکسه. یعنی این برای اولین بار از نظر فنی سعی کردن که با بزرگترین حروفی که ممکن هست که عرض 10 ستونی روزنامه رو پوشش بده و با اون ارتفاع این با 2 کلمه و فعل هم داشته باشه یه تیتری است که با حداقل کلمات در زمان خودش حداکثر معنی و مفهوم رو داشت. تیتر امام آمد هم همین بود. در حقیقت شاه رفت و امام اومد 2 تا تیتری که در تاریخ روزنامه‌نگاری ماندنی شد.
But headlines like that were not so easy to get on the front page. Editors had to wait for radio and television announcements before they could do that. Iran's major newspapers were making sure that they were not missing out on any event. Demonstrations that had started in October 1977 were gaining momentum by January 1979. It was clear that Iran's monarch, the Shah, had to leave.
ما قبل از اینکه روزنامه بره زیر چاپ و دستگاه چاپ بکنه یک نمونه از کار صفحه اول میگرفتیم. یکی از کارگران چاپخونه اون نمونه رو برداشت و دوید تو خیابون، از در مؤسسه رفت بیرون و جلوی ماشینا ایستاد، گفت شاه رفت.
The departure of the Shah on January 16, 1979 paved the way for the return of Imam Khomeini to Iran. Imagine the excitement that the people felt when Imam Khomeini came back to his country after 14 years of exile.
باورمونم نمیشد که ایشون بیاد، چون هر دفعه که میخواستم بیان نیومدم، ولی همون روز که دیگه هواپیمای ایر فرانس که نشست، من قشنگ یادمه که وایساده بودیم، اصلا ما چون از همین جا اومدیم تو و توی باند بودیم، نگاه کردم و من امام واقعا نزدیک دیدم و خب خیلی خوشحال و گریه میکردم. نمیدونستم چه حادی بعد دستم نمیدونستم و گریه میکردم.
already the spiritual leader of the revolution, addressing millions who until now could only listen to cassette copies of his lectures, but now were listening to him in person, making speeches and providing guidelines for the revolutionaries, first at Behesh Zahra Cemetery and then at a school which today is known as Alawiye Do. You can only imagine all the memories that this window is holding. All those historic speeches of Imam Khomeini at the beginning of the revolution were made here in this school. From the moment of his arrival, soldiers began to defect to Imam Khomeini's side, and on the 11th of February, the military declared neutrality and the regime literally collapsed. Imam Khomeini appointed his own interim prime minister and called on everyone to help bring things back to normal. Every year on February 1st, a special ceremony is held at Mehrabad Airport to mark the anniversary of this historic arrival and the biggest welcome of the century. Now in charge of Ittelaat newspaper, Sayyid Mahmoud Douai was on the plane with Imam Khomeini.
وقتی هواپیمای فرانس وارد فضای ایران شد، همه صلوات فرستادیم، همه تکبیر گفتیم، همه شادمان بودیم. اما هیچ احساس متفاوتی نداشت. اون چیزی که برای اون مهم بود و به اون میبارید عمل تکلیف بود.
خمینی ای امام، خمینی ای امام، ای مجاهد، ای مظهر شرف، ای گذشته ز جان در ره هدف. چون نجات انسان شعار تو، مرگ در راه حق افتخار تو. این تویی پاسدار حق، خصم اهریمنان دوستدار حق. بود شعار تو به راه حق قیام، ز ما تو را درود، ز ما تو را سلام.
And 35 years on, Azadi Square remains the symbol of liberation for all Iranians. And in the capital, everyone gathers here to celebrate the victory of the Islamic Revolution. Yisumi Shahmadi from the top of Azadi Tower for Iran.